So as most people return to work, probably still on holiday mode, some find it challenging to really get into the groove of things. Well, the start of a new year symbolizes a fresh start and perhaps for some a new chance to actually get it right this time. But how do we plan for the year and make sure that we set reasonable goals for ourselves? We've invited personal mastery and executive coach Kefilwe Morobane to share some tips on how to make sure you start the year on the right foot. Kefilwe, good morning. It's so lovely to have you here on Morning Live.
Good morning and hello to all the viewers at home.
I know before the break it was we were laughing and joking and saying we're thankful that we have you, because if they'd left us just talking, we were going to depress the whole country, and it's only day 12 of the year, because we need to lift things up a little bit. We've got a long way to go, even though, and I mean, let's start on that note. We are starting on a very difficult footing already. You know, we're starting the year with a lot of challenges ahead of us. And yes, we may have goals, but some of them may not be achievable in this environment. So talk to us about internally, what do we have to look for inside of us to actually get going for this year?
Leanne, I totally agree with you. We are living in very challenging times. We've started off the year on a note where right now it's January. It almost feels like it's July because of all that we have gone through. But as individuals out there, how do we start the year? The first point is understanding, what do I have control over and what don't I have control over? And with that, you need to set that vision for yourself. Understand, what is it that I want to achieve? What are the things that I want to do in this life? And I always start off by saying, have a vision, have an end in mind for your life. And with that vision, it is going to inspire you, it is going to invigorate you, and also encourage you to have something to look forward to in the midst of all the challenges that we are facing. So yes, I acknowledge at this current moment, setting a vision and the goals for the year might be a little bit challenging if you are an entrepreneur, like you were talking about your friend, or if you are a professional who wants a new job or really wants to pivot in your career. And my tips are, be true to yourself. Be true to yourself and say to yourself, at this current moment, what is it that I can do? Is it realistic for me to set 5-year goals? Or is it more realistic for me to set 3-month goals? Because then it is the understanding that this is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And we need to pace ourselves on this journey as we approach 2023. Being intentional about it. What is it that invigorates me? What is it that excites me? And then let me be practical. Let's take it into that practical sense of setting those goals.
We talk about goals, and I mean, some people have massive goals. Some people know what their goals are and want to achieve them. There are a lot of people that actually don't know what their goals are, and they find it very difficult inside them to say, well, you know, what is my goal? What is my purpose? Who am I? What am I doing here? What is 2023 all about? And you kind of ask yourself these questions, and then before you know it, it's December 2023 and you still haven't done a thing. Where do you begin? Where do you begin to find the goal and perhaps at the same time the purpose in who you truly are?
That is such a good question. I would say you need to take time out and have a meeting with yourself. You know, so many times we are distracted. There's the social media, there are the series that you can binge watch the whole day. But it is critical that you have, and I always call this with my clients, have a strategic meeting about your life. And with that, you are going to have to distance yourself from all those distractions. Sit with yourself. And for some people, this can be very scary. It can be a very vulnerable journey to travel. And at times, you don't have to do it alone. There is help available. You can get a coach. There are a lot of books available that will guide you on setting your goals, traveling that journey of self-awareness and personal mastery with yourself. And once you sit with yourself, you need to ask yourself, number one, what do I really want? And that's the big question, because a lot of people out there, they do not know what they want. And if you don't know what you want, the world will tell you what you want. So you need to be very true to yourself, not what your parents want for you. If you're a student and you're about to now figure out what's the academic path you want to go after matric, if you are potentially in your career and you're now looking for the next opportunity, it's not what your manager, it's not what your colleagues are saying to you. It is about what is it that I truly want. Write it down, because there's also power in writing down those goals. What is it that I really want? And then thirdly, how am I going to get there? I know what I want. How am I going to get there? Because that's where the true magic lies. The magic lies in getting into action. So many times we dream and we aspire. I would like to have that house. I would like to have that car. I would like to progress in this level in my business journey. But you're not getting into action. And with getting into action, I'm going to need to sit and put together a roadmap. How will I get there? Do I potentially need to upskill myself at a skills level? Maybe I have a shortage. If I'm an entrepreneur, I want new business. I struggle with pitching. I struggle with approaching new clients for business. How do I then grow in that skill set? If you're looking to grow in your career, for instance, have I updated my profiles on relevant platforms so that recruiters can know that I'm looking for a job? Because if you don't communicate your aspirations, no one will know. And then thirdly, it's about having that community that can keep you accountable to that goal. So having a friend, having a mentor, having a sponsor, somebody who is influential and has possibly traveled the path that you aspire to travel, and say to them, let's have a cup of coffee. Please, can you guide me? How did you do it? You'd be surprised how so many people are available out there who can help you and can guide you. So those are some of the tips that I would encourage the viewers out there. If they're not sure about what is it that they truly want, what are their goals, sit with self and have that strategic meeting with yourself.
And those small goals, which is important. I mean, you also need to. I mean, you can even start smaller than that. And I mean, I know we spoke about a 3-month goal, but I mean, you know, as much as you sometimes need to give those personal goals. You know, there's some people that perhaps say, okay, I've had a big December. I had a big drinking month. Let me give up for a month and let me take it day by day and not do that and clear my head, because, you know, sometimes these are the kind of things that you need. I've eaten a lot. Let me maybe just for a month clean out my system and take those little things and then, you know, take it from there and see how it goes. Because as much as we say we want the big house and the car and all of that, we also want to fit into the small clothes and have those clear minds. But we need to help our bodies see clearly. And that's I also think a thing that perhaps we don't do enough, is that we don't look after ourselves. It's so easy to distract ourselves with the noise, which you mentioned in your answer right at the beginning, switching on a Netflix series, just blocking out your problems and watching things and distracting yourself on social media and not actually sitting down and focusing on who I am and what I need to achieve, instead of watching this noise, which is important. But in and amongst all of this, and this, I suppose, as we wrap up, we've got literally a minute left. But, you know, this is a year where people, they want to achieve something of themselves and they want to build or perhaps, you know, leave something behind. But how do you find your purpose? How I suppose it's a big question, but what is it inside you that you need to look for in order to live out that dream?
Such a good question. So the reality, Leanne, is that all of us are here on this earth with that purpose. We've come out of this pandemic, and there is a reason why all of us are still here. And that purpose is that thing that comes naturally to you. What is it that you enjoy doing? What do you do with the least amount of effort? That is your purpose. You don't need to complicate it. It's the thing that you do with the least amount of effort that really brings you joy. I always say to my clients, what's the thing that you would do even if you wouldn't get paid for it? That's where the purpose lies. Or most importantly, what's the thing that you would do if you were not afraid? And find that. And for some people, you might have your job that you might not be living in your purpose at the moment in your job. You don't necessarily have to focus on that. You can also do it part-time. You can do it over weekends. That's how you find the purpose. Leanne, I do also want to mention the point you mentioned around the incremental and the personal goals as well. It's also important, in addition to setting those personal goals, that you are kind to yourself.
Indeed.
Please be kind to ourselves on this journey. It doesn't mean if I didn't achieve the goals last year, I won't be able to achieve them.
Kefilwe, I have to interrupt you. They're going to cut us off, but that is a very important point to leave it on. It really, really is. I think you've given us some awesome food for thought here. It really is. Kefilwe, thank you. Kefilwe Morobane she's a personal master and executive coach, sharing tips on planning and setting the goals for the year ahead.